economics for decades. Thank you very much. An honor and privilege to be on the stage with the two of you today. I'm hoping to come off more informed about the state of Karnataka, because it is truly such a paradox, right? It is one of the most developed states. I was just going through some numbers. According to an internal analysis by the Income Tax Department, Bangalore is set to become the country's second highest in terms of direct tax collections, surpassing Delhi. In FY23, Bangalore collected 2.4 trillion rupees in taxes, second only to Mumbai, which I think is probably the reason why we are seeing so much political action here. I believe there is a Prime Minister roadshow, a 2-day roadshow happening starting tomorrow. So there is a lot of interest. And let me begin with you, Mr. Kumar. If you could please share with us some of the findings that your survey, your analysis revealed about the state of Karnataka.
Thank you, Shweta. I think before I start talking about the survey, some findings of the survey, what does survey do? Survey helps us to connect with what is happening on the ground. And for Karnataka election, it is very important to have your ears on the ground. Why do I say that? As an election analyst or as a psephologist, what do? We try and look at the past data. Past data is very helpful in looking at the current trends. But I think Karnataka, you need to have your ears on the ground, very closely watching what is happening in Karnataka. And that is where survey has been very, very important. Why I say that it is very important to have your ears on the ground. Past electoral data is not helpful in looking at what might happen in Karnataka. What is the past data? If you talk to generally people, general sense that there is a sense of pro-incumbency in the country, which is to say many governments are getting re-elected. To cite the data, since 2022, 17 states have gone to poll, 13 governments have got re-elected. And this is more beneficial for the BJP. BJP was defending 11 of its state government during the last 2.5 years. And BJP managed to win all assembly elections except one, which is Himachal. So there is a general sense that there is a pro-incumbency mood in favor of BJP. So BJP should win elections in Karnataka as well, whatever may come, whatever may be the issue, whatever people may be talking about, because there is a general pro-incumbency mood in favor of BJP, maybe because of Prime Minister Modi. So that's a general sense. If we look at about the Congress, there is a general counter belief that Congress should win election. Without having your ears on the ground, look at the data, the past data. What is the data? The data suggests, if you look at Karnataka, what has happened in Karnataka, last 30 years, no government has got re-elected. So people generally believe that this is now the turn for Congress, because there has been a BJP government for the last 3.5 years. So Congress should win election, besides other factor, looking at the past data. But there is also an exception we should not remember. Kerala is also one of the states where for the last 40 years, no government got re-elected. But look what has happened in 2021. The government was re-elected. The left government was re-elected. The point I'm trying to say is the past data, past electoral trend is not helpful in looking at what is happening in Karnataka. You need to closely watch what is happening on the ground. Now coming back to, so what do we find from our survey? What is happening on the ground? I think if we talk about the issues, 2 or 3 things have emerged very strongly. If we talk about corruption, both the political parties, the 2 main rivals, Congress and BJP, are talking about corruption. One party is talking about 40% government. The BJP is talking about 85% corruption, referring to the late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's statement that if 1 rupee travel from Delhi, only 15 paisa reaches to the people, and 85 paisa gets lost in the corruption. So this is an issue of concern. This comes out very closely from the survey. Issue of concern. But my own sense is that this is not an issue on which people are going to vote in Karnataka. Why do I say that? Because on this account, people don't find either of the 2 parties any different. Because both the parties are challenging each other. Also, there is a data to suggest If I look at the 13 assembly elections where we have asked this question during last couple of years, in 12 out of 13 states, people mentioned that corruption has increased a lot. But look at what happened in these 12 states. 66 governments got re-elected and 6 governments were voted out of power. Again, an indication that corruption is not an issue on which people are voting. If that was the case, I think most of these governments would have lost, because in 12 out of 13 states, large number of people said, this includes UP, Uttarakhand, Goa, and several other states which went to poll during 2.5 years. So corruption is an issue of concern among a large number of Karnataka voters, but my own sense is that this is not the issue on which people are going to vote. 2 other issues, unemployment and price rise. Very loud noise about increasing unemployment and increasing price rise. But again, my own sense is that, again, this is not going to be an issue of voting. I have no evidence to say why this is not going to be this is not going to be an issue of voting. But I look at the past data in this context. And if I look at the elections which has taken place during last, say, 3 years, 4 or 5 years, since 2015-16, in large number of states, even national elections, 2019, large number of people raised concern about increasing price rise, increasing unemployment. But what happened? Large number of those governments got re-elected. And there's a clear relationship when we do the analysis, that even when people raised concern about unemployment and price rise, among them also these voters who are very concerned about rising unemployment, and this was the case in UP, Uttarakhand, Goa, even Gujarat, where BJP registered such a massive victory. The concern among people was very large, very big about growing unemployment and price rise. Still, look at the verdict in these states. Again, an evidence that people have not voted, at least in the recent election, on these issues. I think the issue of reservation is could turn out to be an important issue. More than that, if I look at the electoral verdict of the last 5 years, emotive issue, जिसको हम कहते हैं भावनात्मक, emotional issues, that have started dominating the election scene. The issues on the ground has very little connect with how people are voting. People are getting swayed with emotional issues, the issues of identity. Some issues have come into play during last couple of days. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but my own sense is that whatever has been talked about for the last 1 month or little more than 1 month, those are not going to be the crucial issue of voting when people go out to vote on the 10th of May. I think the emotive issue, the issue of identity again is going to, whether it is a question of identity of caste, which is related to the issue of reservation, or the issue of the religious identity, which will get sharpened maybe in the coming few days, on the issue of this Bajrang Bali, Bajrang Dal, etc. These may be the issues which might shape voting decision, maybe more than the real issues which are on the ground, on which I think the election should be contested. But my own sense is that, sadly, that's not happening.
Let me go over to Dr. Shastri. Dr. Shastri, the BJP is, of course, playing the double engine ki sarkar. There's also been development, if you look at the Foxconn manufacturing facility that's been brought into the state, or the expressway that's connecting Bangalore and Mysore, or other infrastructure developments that have taken place in the state. But if you look at what Mr. Kumar's research has thrown up, that this election is about identity, it's about emotive issues, it could be about caste, it could be about Bajrangi, pro-Bajrangi, anti-Bajrangi, we don't know. The whole narrative seems to have slipped out of our hands, and now there is, to quote a cliche, a Nataka, being played out in Karnataka. What's your sense?
Thank you for that question, and thank you for having me here. I'd like to steal a part of the credit you are given, Sanjay Bhai, because both of us do this survey together. Okay. Both of us are part of Lokniti, and
yes.
So the work that Sanjay talked about, I endorse every word and every statement that was there. Coming back to the larger question you raised, what Karnataka has seen in the last 2 months is what I would call 2.5 narratives. There has been a clear BJP narrative in a state election, led by its central leadership very strongly, focusing on a range of national issues. Very little talk about what their state government was doing. Very little mention of state governments. This is one of the few times I've seen central leaders not mentioning the name of the chief minister as part of their speeches, which has not happened in any other state. So, a clear focus. The second narrative was the Congress narrative, where they said no Adani, no disqualification of Rahul Gandhi. We are focusing on state issues. We have a state government here, we are the opposition here, let's make that the issue. And this was the clear narrative that was emerging in the state. Once the announcement of candidates happened, you had another half narrative coming up, because I believe the Janata Dal was always a distant third in the competition, and then suddenly their narrative started, where they said, we are the only regional party, you both are national parties, you both have failed, so that narrative also started. What we noticed, the point which Sanjay ji made, which you also referred to, we both have been saying right through the campaign that in the last few days of this campaign, there could be a sudden shift. And that's exactly what's happened. The narrative of central government performance, state government performance is pushed to the back burner. And the whole question of identity in terms of hurting the sentiments of a segment of society comes to the fore. And the Congress is left with no choice but to defend itself on that. You have their leader saying, we'll also build a range of Hanuman temples.
So today you're saying the tide has turned, because 1 week ago when I met Mr. Kumar in Delhi and we discussed this, he told me that the mood is very pro-Congress. But today you're saying that the tide...
I'm not saying that the mood is now anti-Congress or anything. I'm saying the lead that the Congress seemed to have in terms of during the campaign, that lead is not what it seemed to be, because the whole focus of the campaign has changed. Now, is that going to impact the way people vote? Because I was just now telling somebody, the issues about hurting the sentiments of a particular segment of society, when one party raises, are those people who feel that the proposed ban on a group would hurt the sentiments of a religious group, are those people not already supporting the party? Are they not already supporting the party? Did the party which put it in its manifesto hope that a minority consolidation will happen? Because our own study shows there is something like a 12%, the vote that the BJP got in 2018 from the Muslim community, and the vote share we were noticing coming out in the survey that we did, there was a dip of around 11 to 12 percentage points. And that seemed to be going to the Janata Dal, and the BJP was where it is in terms of Muslim support. So has that factor been brought in by the Congress so that we are able to consolidate them? So there are various issues here.
Sure.
But I think the important point is, will the narrative of the last few days be able to undo the narrative of the last 3 months? Is it strong enough? Is the wind of tomorrow and day after tomorrow strong enough to change what has happened in 3 months is the question.
Okay. Mr. Kumar, you want to come in?
No, I think what has happened during last couple of days at least, if you look at the early days of campaign, Congress was setting the narrative. Now BJP has set the narrative and Congress is gone on a defensive. Either they're saying they will build X number of temples, or there are lots of Congress leaders who have come out to explain this was not meant this was not meant this is, so they are offering clarifications. All this suggests that maybe this was not what was desired at this stage of the campaign. So the sense I get is that Congress have gone somewhat on a defensive. How much it is going to hurt Congress, we have to wait and see.
So, when you look at the campaign from both the parties, while the Congress had focused on hyper-local issues, but you're right, now they are more on the back foot. They're constantly trying to show their allegiance to a particular community. And we know that Prime Minister Modi is going to be holding a roadshow, a 2-day roadshow in the city of Bengaluru, which is a very important urban center. I want to ask the two of you, if you were to analyze the trends of the past elections where prime ministers held roadshows at a very aggressive pace, have they turned the mood, have they turned the sentiment, and has it translated into more votes on ground?
I would say context matters. I could quote you a number of examples where it has changed the mood, Gujarat being a case. I could also quote a number of examples where those road shows may have had an impact but did not really define and decide the verdict that came. See. Let me tell you what is a common refrain I am hearing, and this indicates the popularity of the Prime Minister. In whatever I've heard across the state from people, what is said is, next year, Lok Sabha election, we are all voting for the Prime Minister. This is not about who will be in power in Delhi. This is about who will be in power in Bengaluru, in Karnataka. And that's a different issue.
So the double engine might
Modi
not...
ji, people will say very popular, but next year in Delhi, yes. But they will remember Karnataka was the first state in 1984 which made that distinction between a national verdict and a state verdict, and continues to. North India has taken it from us now. If states in the north are doing it today, that's what we started way back.
But I want to come back with something. In 2018, Karnataka did vote for the BJP, though it did not emerge as the single largest party. Could this be the year when Karnataka decides to vote more emphatically because it did not get the government that it voted for in greater numbers?
Let me respond, and then I'm sure Sanjay ji will have something to say. 2013, the BJP was decimated in Karnataka because Mr. Yediyurappa left the party and he said, my KJP is the real BJP. Siddaramaiah becomes chief minister. Next year, when you have a national election, Karnataka was that state where the highest percentage of respondents across the country said, we voted for the BJP because Mr. Modi is the prime ministerial candidate. If I remember right, Sanjay ji, 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 of BJP voters said, we voted for the BJP because of because of the prime ministerial candidate. Right. Same 2014 when voters were asked, how good is the Siddaramaiah government? 90% said very good. 90%. 2018, you do not give a clear verdict to the BJP, right, partly because of the performance in the old Mysore region. Next year, you give them all but, Satishji, all but 3 of the states, right? 3 of the seats, right? All but 3 of the seats in the Lok Sabha election. Now, so here the voter makes this clear distinction between state and center, starting with 84. Rajiv Gandhi got that 24 out of 28 seats in Karnataka. 3 months later, Hegde comes back with a clear majority. So this state has its feet on the ground.
Okay.
The voter knows what she is deciding and is very clear as to why they are deciding what they are deciding.
Okay. Yes.
So my own sense is that if you, as I said, you have to keep your ears on the ground. Yes, if you look at, there could be trends of this kind that when a party do not get a majority next time, people try and vote for that party in a big way. I suspect that's not happening in Karnataka because if you, I am mentioning this again and again, if you listen to the voices of Karnataka across the state, I don't get that sense that BJP would be in a position to get a much bigger mandate compared to 2000. That's not happening, I believe.
Okay. I want to ask you about your survey. Who emerged as the most sought after chief ministerial candidate for Karnataka?
I would say in this respect, Karnataka state assembly election is turning out to be very, very different compared to many of the other states. Siddaramaiah has emerged as the most popular choice, 40%.
So another 40%, not that
40%. And Mr. Bommai has been mentioned by 22% of the voters. And remember, in our survey, we don't offer names. We don't offer menu. It's a spontaneous name recall by the voters. This is a very high number, 40% people of Karnataka taking, and this is cross-section of people. This is not interviews conducted only in Bangalore or Mysore and in urban area. This is a classic representative sample of Karnataka. So 40% people said Siddaramaiah and 22% mentioned Bommai. There have been only few instances where a sitting chief minister's rating would be such low compared to leader of an opposition party. And this is more peculiar, when the opposition party has not declared him as the chief ministerial candidate. So it's a very high rating for Siddaramaiah, very popular face across region, across caste community, across age groups, etc. Very, very popular face.
When you look at the first-time voters that are going to be voting this time, it's a fairly large number. But when I hear the campaign, I don't look at issues and I don't see a language that the youth of Karnataka speaks. Is it because there is a lot of voter apathy amongst the youth? Is that the reason why political parties are not addressing them as a constituency? Or are they completely missing the boat here?
There are two different issues here. Urban centers in Karnataka have had lower voter turnout. Since 1983, the district with the lowest voter turnout every election, parliament, assembly, whichever, is Bangalore urban district. Every election.
Long weekends.
District headquarters and the district headquarters will have a lower voter turnout as compared to the district. Now coming to your other question. I did this little study from our data. First time voter. The way the first-time voter votes is very often indicative of which way the state would go. Whenever a party has secured a majority in the state, they have always secured a little higher percentage of votes among the first-time voters. Last time, when the BJP fell short of a majority, they actually got less votes among first-time voters as compared to its overall share. So let's look for that indicator.
Yeah.
The way the first-time voter goes is actually a barometer of how the trend could be in terms of an election.
Mr. Kumar, would you like to comment on this? In terms of the issues that are being raised by the political parties, is there anything that relates to the first-time voter?
I think many times this question is being asked. Do we see any difference when we look at the first-time voters with regard to the issues and also with regard to women? We don't find in our surveys that the issues which concerns the women voters or the issues which concerns the young voters are very different compared to the issues which concerns the common sets of voters. Slight difference. If I talk in terms of the young voters are more concerned about the issue of unemployment. In this survey also, when we conducted the survey among cross-sections of voters, 25% of the total voters said unemployment is going to be the big issue in this election, or is it that's a big issue in this election. Among the young voters, and I am referring to 18 to 24, 38%. So unemployment becomes a slightly bigger issue among the young voters. When we talk about the women voters, its price rise becomes a slightly bigger issue among the women voters. But except these two, we don't find on other issues remarkably different opinion or attitudes if we are talking about the young voters and the women voters.
So if voting were to take place tomorrow, I want to get both of your numbers in on the number of seats that the BJP, Congress and JDS could get.
I have no mechanism to convert it sitting on the dais that if elections are held tomorrow.
You've calculated everything.
I calculate everything, but I calculate and keep something in my pocket also.
No. You have
So
to tell us.
I get a clear sense if elections are held tomorrow, certainly Congress has a decisive edge over BJP. Certainly it's a decisive edge over BJP. Now if you talk about numbers, and I get a sense that
Absolute
Congress
majority for the Congress?
I get a sense that Congress is ahead over BJP by say 5 or 6% vote at this moment. If elections are held tomorrow, this 5-6% votes may not give a huge majority to the Congress because this might get Congress say 116, 120 seats, not more than that. It's not a kind of a wave where you can expect Congress getting 135, 140 seats. That's not the case at this moment.
Okay. Dr. Shastri?
In the last few days, one word has become very popular. The word is Jai. I'm not going to say what comes after that. I would say Jai Karnataka in terms of where we should be going tomorrow. 224 seats in the state. I would go with Sanjay Bhai's logic that if he said tomorrow, I'll say today. If elections are to be held
Today it's already 5:30. No voting can take place.
If elections are to be held today, the Congress seems to have a nose ahead. But that's not a very long nose. It's a very short nose which it has ahead. And 4 days is a long time to change things. But that 4 days change would require a lot of momentum change to undo a trend that has developed over a long period of time. I'm not saying that's not doable, but Karnataka would be making quite some history if they managed to do that.
So how much of that depends on all the wonderful people who've come here today?
That's all of them. If they all go and vote, that's the point.
If they go out and vote, how much of it depends on people of Bangalore? Because like you said, Bangalore has been associated with a lot of voter apathy. A lot of people from the north have come.
I'll narrate to you a small anecdote.
Yes.
We found a constituency in an election where 18% of voters in that polling booth had actually voted. And that was an area which had a very, 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 very high concentration of educated and affluent voters. So my students went in the next day there to find out why you didn't vote. So most people kept their hands behind when they were answering our question. And those who did admit, they said, no. Everybody is corrupt. All parties are bad. All candidates are bad. That's why I don't want to waste my time to go and vote. My student asked the next question. Yeah, I agree with you. Who were the candidates in your constituency? I don't know who the candidates were, but all are corrupt and all are ineffective. So, last time, many of you will remember, our voting happened on a Saturday. And Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday were holidays. We did a study.
So again, this time it's middle
just
of
10
the week.
seconds.
Yes, absolutely.
We did a study in Bangalore airport on the Thursday evening. Families going out on a holiday. Voting? We have 5 days at a stretch to go on a holiday. We went to the bus stand, railway station. Here also people going out, but they were saying, my vote is in Belgaum, my vote is in Gulbarga. We are using this time to go back and vote.
Bangalore, not looking very good right now. Okay, very quickly, a show of hands of whoever has got their voter ID. Wow, it's a full house. So I do hope that you will go and cast your vote. Thank you very much, Dr. Shastri and Mr. Kumar. Always a pleasure, always very enlightening to hear your analysis.
Thank you.
We wish
Thank you very
Karnataka
much.
the very best. May the best party win and this time come with a decisive majority. Meghna, over to you.
I would request Shweta to please give a token of appreciation.